Hi, I'm Chef Annette Benson, and today we're going to make gingerbread dough. I thought for this time of year that I would do a lesson on making a gingerbread house. And the first thing that you have to do is start with making the dough for the gingerbread house. So that's what we're going to do in this first little video here, is make the dough for the gingerbread house. And then I'm going to show you in the next several videos, I don't know how many it's going to take, to how to make, put together a gingerbread house. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is make the dough, of course. And I'm going to use a mixer for this. We're going to use pretty much the creaming method to make our dough. So the first thing I want to do is put in my butter and my sugar into the mixer. Okay, there's my butter. And here's my sugar. The recipe I'm using, I will post it here, and I will also have it in the description of the video on YouTube. So you'll be able to see how to do this recipe, and you'll be able to use this recipe at home. The one thing is that this is a nice recipe for the houses. It has a really nice structure to it to be able to cut out the pieces and also to be able to bake them and all that stuff. So that's why I kind of like this recipe. I've used a couple different recipes before, and I've sort of stuck with this recipe for a long time because of the fact that it's just been a really good recipe to use. So okay, we're going to cream that up together. We want to make sure that there's no lumps in here, and we want to make sure that the butter and the sugars are nicely creamed together and mixed and well incorporated. So again, baking is a science, and if you're not doing this completely the way that you're supposed to be doing it, it's probably not going to turn out proper and good. So you want to make sure that you are doing things whenever it comes to baking pretty much to the letter of what it says. Okay, I'm going to stop this and scrape it down. Make sure you get the bottom as well as what's on the beater and on the sides of the bowl. All right, and now that we have that pretty well mixed together, I'm going to start adding my eggs. I'm going to add them a little at a time, because if you add them too quickly, then your mixture will curdle, and that won't be too good for your gingerbread house. Again, you want something that's going to have a fair amount of structure to it, because whenever you go to put a gingerbread house together, you want it to be able to stand up. So that's why it's kind of important to do this the way it's supposed to also. I'm going to scrape this bowl down again after I add my eggs, and then I'm going to add my molasses to this. Molasses is kind of sticky, and it likes to stay in the container, so you're going to want to scrape this out as best as you can. Get as much of the molasses out as possible. All right, once my molasses is incorporated pretty well in there, I'm going to add my flour and then my baking soda and my salt and my spices. All right, here's where you need to start thinking about how and what the purpose of your gingerbread house is, or what the purpose of your gingerbread is. This can be used to make cookies also. You can definitely make gingerbread cookies out of this, and whenever you make the cookies, you're going to want to add all of your ginger and your cloves and allspice and cinnamon to that. But if you're going to only make a gingerbread house and make it for display purposes only, then you don't really need all of these spices in. I would probably put the salt in, and you're definitely going to want to put your baking soda in, but you don't necessarily need your spices. You can put all of this stuff in pretty much at once. So I'm going to put all of my salt, my baking soda, and my spices in there, and then I'm going to put about half of my flour in, maybe a little bit less than half of my flour in at first, because that's a lot of flour. It's 8 cups of flour in here, so we want to add it in additions for this. So we let this mix up, and then we add a little bit more flour to it. Okay, it's hard not to make a little bit of a mess with this because of all the flour and the fact that this is a little bit of a smaller bowl for this. You can always cut this recipe in half and make half at a time if you really want, but it works, and we'll just clean up the mess, that's all. All right, so okay, and right there is your gingerbread. As you can see, it's manageable. It's a little sticky, but not much, and that's okay if it's a little sticky, and you'll see why in the next video. All right, so that is your gingerbread, and the next step is rolling out the dough and cutting out your pieces. So I'll see you on the next video.